Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Mike Craig to the program today, vocalist for Farewell to Fear. How you doing, Mike?
I'm awesome, Lance. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. New album Polarity came out July 5th on Crusader/Golden Robot Records. I see you've been getting some killer reviews on this. You got to be excited to hear that everybody's digging it.
Yeah, like anything else, when you put your heart and soul into something, you're hoping that other people dig it as well. Yeah. So this has been, and thank goodness we've gotten some really good response from the album thus far, and and we're obviously very excited about it.
Now, I looked up the definition of polarity, and the simplest version I could come up with said it is a relationship between two opposites characteristics or tendencies. Is that what you were going for, or did you just like the word polarity?
Well, because I guess there's many different ways to answer this question. Yeah. But I tell you, when you factor in when you listen to the album start to finish, one thing that you'll realize is that, wow, this has gone from one extreme to the next. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to rock and metal, and and we were we had to figure out, does this make sense? Because in today, what people are doing and putting out today, some people may say, well, these are polar opposites. Some of these songs are polar opposite from the other songs, and it might not fit. It might not make sense, to mix it up that much. And at the end of the day, we went into this as, hey, who's to say what the rules are? I don't know who they are necessarily, but I like diversity. I like some change. I like some differences. And you know what? We have a ton of influences that we draw from. And we just decided to write what was coming to mind and what we felt at the time. And believe it or not, man, that really did create some polarity, within the band. And when you look at the time frame that we wrote it, it was probably almost 2 years of writing, and because of COVID and because of everything that was going on in the world, and man, we could go on and on and on.
The description I came up with this album was a kaleidoscope of sounds.
Oh, I like that. I might have to write that one down, steal that one.
Go for it. Now, with all the different types, and I want to break down a few songs with you. I made some notes on some of them. You do have a ton of different sounds, different styles on this. You can hear your influences. You can hear the originality in it all. How tough was it to sequence the album? Did you guys spend much time on that, or just kind of slap it down and this is what's going to go where?
Actually, it was kind of just a, hey, let's just, because there really was no right or wrong. Actually, initially we were thinking, well, let's partition this album, so to speak. Let's put all of this, what we were driving from, because it goes, you can hear it. There's some core thrash involved in this one. And, it kind of dates, if you've been listening to this stuff for quite some time, it'll date you back into the late 80s, 90s of what was going on with Anthrax and Megadeth and Metallica at the time. And then there's other songs, a grouping of songs that could be very much relevant in active rock and what's going on in either liquid metal or, Serious Octane, things like that today. So we just decided, let's just mix it up. Let's throw it down because, and let's bookend this thing with the Faith No More cover. And so it didn't take too long to go ahead and throw down, because one way or another, we knew that, some people were going to love these songs. Some people were going to not like them, and it just didn't really matter. We just wanted to do something that we were proud of.
Cool. Let's get into a few of the tracks. Like I said, I've made a few notes. Track 1, Power Trip, I thought was a brilliant blend of power and melody all at the same time. Cool. Really like that track.
Well, thank you. And that's, I think if you, when you really dive into it and you look at even our past catalog and whatnot, and as we've grown, those are the two types of things that we're really trying to, you want something that has an impact, and you want people to listen to it and go, whoa. But you also want to take them through a little bit of a journey throughout the song. And for me personally, I'm a big fan of melodies and harmonies and big choruses and things that people can sing along to, and I like sprinkling that throughout the catalog, because it does give you that dynamic that brings it back to the masses, something that people can follow. You may not be into the dueling guitars and the harmony riffs and the heavy, double bass and all those types of things, but you can appreciate it, and then it drops you into something that's much bigger, and that's always fun.
Great track.
Thanks.
Track 2, Brainwashed. I love the video. Should I have found my 3D glasses for watching that with?
That's a good question. I haven't tried that yet, so we might want to do something with that one.
If I could find a pair, I just might have done it. Great timing on the lyrics. And I am a huge guitar solo guy, and I love sort of the mid, this is the way, what I heard at least going in, sort of a mid-Eastern sort of tinge going into the solo or during the first guitar solo. There's a couple of them in there. I think I was targeting the first one. Sound like a little bit of a mid-Eastern vibe in there as well. And like I said, perfect timing for the title and the subject matter.
Well, thank you. That was one of my favorites to do. And actually, it was one of the last songs that we recorded for the album, and we could have went. I mean, we were literally writing this song, and then we wrote the melody line and whatnot for vocals, and then basically rapped, and then I swear it was that evening something wasn't sitting right with me, fell asleep. Woke up in the morning and just had this epiphany of, okay, we got to scrap that. And we did a whole new concept behind the vocal on this song. And it was, it just came together really well. It's almost a mix of, almost an Alice in Chains feel with Mastodon meets Gojira or something, so we wanted to do something that was a little different than what people are used to hearing. But that's one of my favorites on the album by far, and the guitars just killed it. I mean, these guys crushed it. So a lot of fun.
Let's talk about your guitarists. You got Tommy Gibbons and Bill Staley, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, good.
Dude, these guys, they're insane. I mean, they really are, and I think you're going to hear a lot more as we grow and we progress, because you have such talent. We're going to infuse a whole lot more of that into the future, and it's going to be cool, because you don't really get as much of that anymore. When you look at, you just don't have a whole lot of dual guitar players anymore. That because maybe that's because a lot of the music today is not calling for it. I don't know. I just always loved it as a kid.
Too.
So I was like, why do we not do more of this? So we will.
Exactly. Cool. Very cool. Played Again. Great. Again, a great message. It's like we've all been played, it's how you deal with it. And I'm going to spotlight your bassist, Jeremy. I can't read my writing on his last name.
Jeremy Sevens.
Jeremy Sevens. That bass breakdown into the solo was amazing. Love that part.
It's fun because, we don't have a whole lot of songs that just break apart into the bass. And Jeremy's, he's been with us from the very beginning, and one of the nicest guys, super talented, and extremely humble. So it's good to be able to have parts like that and to shift it up and kind of go into a different groove. But yeah, that solo break was definitely unique when we were writing the song. Even Tommy and I were putting some things down, and we said, let's just change this thing up and go into something totally different. And as we were writing it and we started playing it, we're like, is that going to work? Is this going to fit? I'm like, hell yes. Who's to say that something like that can't work in a song like this? So that's kind of an example of, hey, throw rules out the window. Let's do what feels right. And, let's not be confined by maybe what is acceptable or not acceptable anymore.
I loved it. If Tomorrow Never Comes, awesome message. And here I'm going to highlight your drummer. Is it Jimmy Adams?
Yes.
The drumming, I'm listening to this track, and all of a sudden I'm like, damn, this drummer's really got it going on in this track. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, Jimmy's the I mean, he's extremely solid. And once again, we're fortunate to have a band of good, just good people, good guys. Like I said, very humble, and just they just master their craft. And he absolutely crushed it on this one, and he did throughout the entire album. So
Yeah.
kudos for sure.
Weight of the World, the intro totally hooked me. I thought I was getting a ballad, then you guys kind of took it up tempo, but I loved the intro in the beginning of that song as much as I liked it once you guys, you know, put the pedal to the floor on it as well, you know.
Cool. It was one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Because it just has, the message is so relevant into what's going on and what people are feeling, no matter what age you are, whether you're a teenager or you're getting up in the ages and whatnot, but it will relate to anyone that listens to it. And well, the title of the song, Weight of the World, sometimes that's what we feel that we're carrying, and feeling that we're all alone. And sometimes you just got to know that that's not the case, and so and then, like I said, like you mentioned earlier, boy, then it breaks into the solo part, and it's like, whoa, that's just like came out of left field, and it brings you back a little bit to some of the stuff that we grew up on. So one of my favorite tracks for sure.
Cool. Well, speaking of my favorite track, this is the last one I'll hit you up. I mean, I could ask you questions on all of them, but I got some other stuff here for you as well. Track 6, Fall in Line, was my favorite track.
Cool.
I know you did the Faith No More cover, with Surprise You're Dead, but to me, Fall in Line sounded like if Mike Patton was fronting Metallica circa Hits the Lights era.
Wow.
I loved it.
Well, first of all, I'm obviously extremely flattered, because these guys are, obviously guys we look up to, and so I appreciate that. Obviously, we'll take that and very much appreciative of that. Actually, it's funny because it's such a different track. It's such but you're right. It does. It kind of, it's raw. It's just in your face.
Yeah.
It's, it's heavy. So, I'm glad that you dig it. Sometimes when you write songs and you finish them up, you feel you have a second guess. It's like, well, I totally dig it because I know where I came from and I know what I like. That doesn't mean everyone else is going to like it.
Right.
And that's where most people will, sometimes they'll take two paths. They'll either say, you know what, let's scrap it. It was fun. But let's write something that we feel the masses are going to like. And we've done that. We've done that many times. This album was kind of like, you know what? No, if we really dig it and we really like it, I promise you there's somebody else out there that's going to appreciate it just as much as we do. So that's kind of our thought when we did Fall in Line. And once again, lyrically, very relevant to, to anybody that's dealing with, people basically telling them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and basically forcing you to fall in line. And that's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Great message. Now, recording this album, were you, with COVID and everything, were you guys able to get together? Or was this one where everybody sort of recorded their parts and then you pieced them all together? How did that process go?
So the unique thing, and we've been, obviously you hear a lot, because of technology, a lot of bands will do things remotely. We've been doing things remotely since we started 10 years ago. So when COVID came into play, a lot of people were like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can't get together in the same room. For us, it was not an issue. It was just more of the same. So that's been kind of our format. And so we'll write from afar, and we'll collaborate, we'll pull things together. And then, thank God for technology. It just makes it so much easier for us to do this,
Do the songs, do you start with, say, a vocal and bring it to Tommy or somebody and see if they come up with a riff, or do they come up with a riff and you come with something, or how does the genesis of the song start?
There's no formula necessarily. Some songs will be inspired by a vocal, and then other songs and tracks that we write will be inspired by a riff. But I will tell you, that and if Tommy was on, he'd tell you. I remember at one point I did fly into Phoenix, and we started collaborating. Tommy and I started collaborating together on a couple songs. And when I flew in, he picked me up from the airport and he says, "Okay, I got nothing." I got nothing. I said, "That's great, because I got nothing either." So, but so once we got into a room, things just end up coming out. And so there's no real rhyme or reason necessarily. I wish I could say this is exactly the formula of how we write, but there is just there's no routine.
That's cool. Now, as far as like lyrics, we talk about how some of these songs are great messages of the times and everything. Are you someone who's very, up to the moment, like, newsworthy stuff, reading newspapers, watching news, doing stuff, being involved in current events, or you just kind of let it roll?
I am, but I am, I'm, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sensitive to the fact that there's always different views on different things that are happening in the world and whatnot. I definitely have my own views, but the majority of the stuff that we write about will leave it somewhat ambiguous to the listener.
Right.
So it relates exactly to what their view is and how they want to perceive it. And I believe in that. But yeah, definitely up to date. And it is hard sometimes to pull yourself out of that.
Yes.
Because it is in your face all day long, especially over the last couple of years. It was just been, well, there's brainwash for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, it has just been absolutely brutal, the things that we've been subject to, and the amount of information coming from so many different sources, whether it's news, whether it's media channels, whether it's friends in the neighborhood. I mean, you're just getting it's an onslaught of views and just fear mongering and and after a while you don't know what to believe anymore.
Exactly. I agree.
And so yes, and that definitely is infused throughout this album for sure, because we are facing it every day just like everyone else.
Absolutely. You guys played a couple of gigs this past weekend, Brandy's Basement in Irwin, Pennsylvania. You headlined there Friday night, then you played Incarceration Fest Saturday night. Looking at your Facebook page, both those gigs look like they were a lot of fun.
They were a blast. And knowing that this was our first opportunity to get out in front of a live audience with the new album being released was a treat for us for sure. And a litmus test to some degree to see, all right, how well is this going to go over live, and do people really dig it as much as we do? And we had fun, absolutely had a blast. And it was great to see the reciprocation from the fans and the audience having just as much fun as we had. Both Brandy's was awesome, amazing place, amazing folks, amazing fans. And Incarceration Fest was, it was out of control. I mean, it was fantastic.
I was looking at the lineup. That must have been incredible just to be a part of.
Yeah, it really is. And there's and we're fans just like anybody else, so those of you that think that a lot of these bands that you're jumping on some of these big festivals, they go and just so they can play their spot, and we go because we obviously want to play on the stage with those bands as well, but we also love the opportunity to be fans as well, and go check out some of the bands that we love.
Was there a must-see band on the bill that you made sure you made time to go see?
Well, it was hard because we were on the Saturday lineup, and then we had to beeline it out of there. But we were able to catch up and see Avatar. Avatar was one of the bands that we definitely wanted to see.
Yeah.
And so we were able to catch that. Saint Asonia, I was really wanting to catch, which I did. And just some great bands. Fortunately, we have been on bills with Breaking Benjamin and some of the other bands.
Yeah.
We played, and then Sunday they had Lamb of God, which obviously any opportunity I get to see those guys, it's amazing. Yeah, so it's summertime's usually an amazing time for fans to get out and go into festival season.
Now, you mentioned, playing on some big bills with some big bands. There's one band that you played with I got to ask you about, because I am a huge wrestling fan. You guys toured with Fozzy. Did you get to interact with Chris Jericho at all?
Sure. Yeah, just a great guy. Great guy, a lot of fun. But, and I will tell you that, we had, and not just that movie, the rest of the guys in the band are just amazing people, and touring with guys like that. And you can tour with a lot of different people. And sometimes the relationship with an opening act and the headliner could be very hands off. And because and I understand that, but this one was not. These guys were very welcoming. And they're one of the best in the business, in my opinion. They treat their fans, fantastic. Their meet and greets are out of this world. Chris is just a good dude. So we had a blast. It was definitely, we also had the opportunity to go on the Chris Jericho cruise and play with them. That was just before COVID came.
Oh,
And
awesome.
what a blast. It was such a great time.
Cool. Let's go back in time to a little bit of This Is Your Life. You grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, which of course is just renowned for classic rock acts and new rock acts. Everybody from Leonard Skinner to Limp Bizkit and on up through. Must have been a fantastic place to grow up.
Yes, absolutely. Jacksonville is one of those, I always look at it as a little hidden gem, a little secrets that most people don't know about. And it's getting a little more popular now, but little trivia for it. Jacksonville just happens to be the largest city by land mass in the U.S.
I had read that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Little old Jacksonville, Florida. Sometimes I tell people I'm from Jacksonville, and they immediately think of Florida, of the Miami, like right. Miami and Lauderdale, South Florida. It's just not. We're lucky. We've got it's a little different community up here. People are great. Not quite as congested. Great place to raise a family. But obviously it's great music. So when you have an opportunity to be surrounded with a lot of amazing people, the local scene's fantastic, and there's just a lot of talent here.
And I can vouch for you on Jacksonville. It was a long, long time ago when I was there. And I'll tell you this much. I went down for a big bowling tournament.
Okay.
That they used to have. It was called the Nationals. They take over like a civic center and put brand new lanes in. We went to Jacksonville Civic Center or something like that. It was a big building. It wasn't a regular bowling alley. And I went down the trip. I was 23 years old. I went into my very first Hooters in Jacksonville, Florida.
Absolutely.
Wonderful experience. But I agree. I fell in love with that whole area. If I was to ever go, to want to move to Florida, it would be Jacksonville.
This is the spot for sure. And yeah, man, anytime you want to come back, you just let me know.
Very cool. How did you get into singing? Were you into in choirs in school, or is this just something you sort of fell into?
It's funny. It kind of happened by necessity. Through grade school, I had actually was originally a drummer and played drums since I was 12, 13 years old, and started getting into rock bands and playing drums since I was 15. And the last band that I had in high school, metal band in high school, playing drums, and we just had the bitch of a time trying to find somebody that wanted to sing. And everybody and their brother either played drums or played guitar, so that was easy. And I said, well, what the heck? I've got plenty of drummers that are fantastic. Let's get a drummer, and I'll test my, I'll get up there and sing. What the heck? Nobody else is going to step up. So I did, and I really had a good time doing it. And from that point forward, I just never looked back. So I've been doing it ever since then.
Very cool. Do you ever have any vocal lessons or anything, or has it just all been self-taught?
I from time to time, I get some mentorship from some folks, and I took a couple lessons when I first started. But that was just a lot of it was all, technique and breathing and all these kind of things. And so, heck, when we were young, especially teenagers, like, I don't need any of that. I don't need that.
Yeah, my voice will last forever.
Yeah. And that is not true. So kids, if you're listening right now and you want to do vocals, let's do it right from the start. Okay.
Now, I'm assuming these bands you had in high school were mostly cover bands.
No, actually.
You were doing originals.
Yeah, we were all original bands. And
wow.
So and that was a lot of fun. Although, that we'd slide in a couple cover songs from time to time, because it was just fun to do. But yeah, we were cover bands, or original bands, excuse me. And then moved down to Fort Lauderdale for a few years after high school, and then got together with another group down there. It was kind of a thrash original thrash band, and did really well down there, and with some really, really great guys. And band was called Panic. If you ever get a chance to go check that out, it was many years ago, but really, really, really good music.
I love to hear the high school band names. Do you remember any of the band names you had from those bands you were in high school?
Oh, let me think now. Let's jeez. Okay, let's see here. I think one was Onslaught. That was one of them.
Okay.
Oracle. That was another one.
That's a cool name. I like
this
that.
was way before the other Oracle. This was
Yeah.
I know we've got to have some other ones that were really good, but the hell if I can remember them all, you know?
Yeah, they'll come to you about 2 a.m. tonight, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I also read your first show was Iron Maiden. Do you remember which tour it was? Your first live concert you went to?
Peace of Mind.
Wow.
It was insane. I mean, it was, as a kid, you go and see these guys perform at that level. It ruined me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm done. This is what I got to do.
Now, was that the tour they had Twisted Sister opening with them?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Wow.
Sure was.
My cousin saw that show. I didn't see them. I saw them for the first time. When was it? Somewhere in Time.
Oh, yes. So good.
Yeah.
Maiden is just, even today, I went and saw them a couple of years ago. And on their first show of this particular run, and it was in Lauderdale. And like I said, this was only a couple of years ago. So I swear, I still to this day, I sit and watch these guys and go, it does not get any better. It just doesn't, so, and I love that because I'm just such a fan. But I will tell you, it's like, man, these guys have been doing this for so long and they still can play at that level is just inspiring.
They bring it every single night.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
I think last time I saw them was Dance of Death tour, and they were phenomenal.
Oh, you're so good.
So going forward now, touring with Farewell to Fear, you guys played the big fest this past weekend. What do you have lined up going forward? What are your plans going forward now?
So right now we've got some plans in the works. Nothing I can mention at the moment, but because nothing's concrete. But we definitely want to get out. We wanted to get this under our belt. We wanted to get the album released. We wanted to get this festival done. And then we kind of wanted to sit back and say, what was our reaction? What was our response? And then and also look at the particular markets that we felt were stronger than others. And then try to make a plan to get in and then and get out. Because I think that, there's one thing of listening to the album. It's another thing seeing a live show. And we are all about the live show. So unless you've been to a Farewell to Fear show, you won't probably get the total understanding. But it's just, this is something that why we do what we do is because we want to get out there and play in front of people.
Excellent. Look forward to it. Mike, do you have time for a couple of my quick, silly questions? Hopefully these are questions you've never been asked before.
Okay. All right. Shoot.
All right. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Okay. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh, nice. That's old school. Very cool. If you could pick a television show to have a Farewell to Fear song placed in, what TV show would you pick?
Oh my gosh. Current or in the past?
You can pick whatever one you want.
Whew, man. Okay. Television show, Farewell to Fear song. How about Speed Racer?
Oh, awesome. What food is better as a leftover as opposed to freshly cooked?
Pizza.
Yeah, I agree. Have you ever prank called someone?
Well, yeah, sure.
Okay. Do you travel heavy or light?
I'm sorry, say again.
Do you travel heavy or light?
Light.
Light. Last music other than your own that you listen to?
King Diamond.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Give us something that decorated your teenage bedroom.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, so let's see. There had to have been mostly a bunch of tear outs of magazines, mostly of metal magazines. Other ones were girly magazines, sure.
Yep.
But they were plastered all over the walls.
I'm betting you had a poster of Samantha Fox in there somewhere.
Well, there was that, and what was it? There was Heather Locklear. There's
Yes.
Oh, there's a ton of good ones out there.
Linda Carter. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What is your favorite smell?
Oh, man. My favorite smell. That's a good one, man.
All right. We can go back to it. We can go back to it if you want.
Okay, let's come back to that one.
We were talking about Chris Jericho. Give us your favorite old school wrestler.
Old school wrestler, Andre the Giant.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Let me give you one more, and then I'll give you the favorite one. Do you remember your first kiss?
Oh my gosh. No.
No?
I've never thought about that.
Oh, sucks to be her.
That's so crazy. Oh my God. I don't remember.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Okay. I'll give you one more I'll give you one more shot at your favorite smell.
How about my wife's perfume?
Oh, perfect. That's the answer. There's the
Yep.
answer. Okay. I just hope it wasn't your wife that gave you your first kiss.
I know, right? Jeez.
All right.
I'm starting to forget stuff.
Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Okay, any actor. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. All right, very cool. Been talking with Mike Craig, vocalist for Farewell to Fear, their new album Polarity out now. Mike, was there anything that I didn't ask you, anything you didn't get to talk about in this interview that you'd like to? The floor is yours.
I think more than anything else is just letting everybody know, hey, as a personal request, check out the album, download it, follow us on Spotify and all the socials, and give us some feedback. I think it's the big thing. You can go to our website, farewell2fear.com, and find us anywhere on socials and whatnot. But we love the idea of connecting with as many people as possible. Whether your feedback on the album is good, bad, indifferent, just know it's all good to us. So we're not the ego-driven people. We're just regular guys, and we don't have people running our socials. So if you reach out to us personally, that's what you're going to get back. And we'd love to be able to have you come out to a live show soon. So we appreciate you dialing in, listening, and being a fan. We appreciate you. You are the reason why we do what we do. So I appreciate you letting us be on.
Awesome. Mike, safe travels wherever you're going, and may all your shows be sold out.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time and all your support.
Thank you very much. Take care.